Most people think global economics is complicated, something only governments and experts deal with. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Decisions taken in one country thousands of kilometers away quietly affect the price of food you buy, the fuel you use, and the loans your country struggles to repay. When interest rates rise in the United States, currencies weaken elsewhere. Governments suddenly face budget problems. Inflation rises, and ordinary people pay the price. This keeps happening in Asia, Africa, South America, again and again. And yet, very few people stop to ask a simple question. Why does one country have this kind of influence over the rest of the world? The answer isn't military power. It isn't diplomacy. It's the global financial system, and at the center of that system sits one currency, the US dollar. To understand modern inflation, sanctions, debt crises, and even many wars, we first need to understand how the dollar became the backbone of the global economy and why most countries can't afford to step away from it. To understand why the US dollar has so much influence, we need to step back for a moment and talk about what money actually is. Money is not valuable because it's printed on special paper. It's valuable because people trust it. When two countries trade, neither side wants to take a risk. They want a currency that will still hold value tomorrow, next month, and next year. Over time, the US dollar became that currency. Not because it was perfect, but because it was stable, widely accepted, and backed by the world's largest economy. Today, when countries trade oil, machinery, food, or technology, most of those transactions happen in dollars. When governments borrow money, they usually borrow in dollars. When central banks store reserves, they mostly store dollars. This creates a system where the dollar is not just America's currency, it's the operating system of the global economy. When one country controls the operating system, every other country has to live with its updates whether they like them or not. This didn't happen overnight. After the Second World War, much of the world was economically destroyed. Europe needed rebuilding. Trade needed restarting. The United States was one of the few countries that came out of the war stronger than before. In 1944, global leaders met in a small town called Bretton Woods to design a new financial system.
At Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, delegates from 44 allied and associate countries arrived for the opening of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference. Invited by President Roosevelt to the first major world financial meeting since
the deal was straightforward. The US dollar would be linked to gold. Other currencies would be linked to the dollar. This made sense at the time. The system brought stability, and it helped global trade recover. But systems built for stability can also concentrate power. Even after the gold link was removed in the 1,970 seconds, the world didn't move away from the dollar. Not because there were no alternatives, but because changing the system was far more risky than staying inside it. Fast forward to today. Around 60% of the world's foreign exchange reserves are held in US dollars. That means central banks around the world depend on the dollar to protect their economies. This also means decisions made by the US Federal Reserve don't stay inside the United States. When the Fed raises interest rates to control inflation at home, money flows back into the US. For developing countries, this creates a serious problem. Their currencies weaken. Debt repayments become more expensive. Governments are forced to cut spending. This is not a failure of individual countries. It's a structural imbalance built into the global financial system itself. This is why we keep seeing the same pattern. Countries like Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Argentina, and others fall into crisis again and again. Not because they refuse to work hard, but because they are borrowing in a currency they don't control. Imagine earning in one currency but paying all your bills in another. The moment exchange rates move against you, you're trapped. The global system rewards countries that already have power and punishes those that don't. And once a country slips into a debt spiral, getting out becomes incredibly difficult. The dollar isn't just an economic tool. It's also a political weapon. Most global financial transactions pass through systems linked to U.S. banks or U.S. regulations. When a country is cut off from the dollar system, it's not just sanctioned, it's isolated. Trade slows down. Payments get blocked. Even basic imports become difficult. This is why financial sanctions often hurt civilians far more than governments. And this is why the dollar has become one of the most powerful tools in modern geopolitics without a single shot being fired. Let's be clear. This system benefits the United States. It benefits global banks. It benefits countries that are closely aligned with the dollar system. But for much of the developing world, the cost is constant vulnerability. Economic stability depends not just on domestic policy, but on decisions made abroad. It's how the system was designed and how it continues to operate. Many countries want an alternative. China promotes the yuan. Russia talks about de-dollarization. BRICS nations discuss new payment systems. But replacing the dollar isn't just about creating a new currency, it's about trust. Trust in markets. Trust in institutions. Trust that the rules won't change overnight. And right now, no alternative offers all of that at the same scale.